All right, Timo here, back again. Stayed up way too late last night working on this. Sketched out some thoughts on how we want to restructure the directory for insurance.app. So we're just going to dive right into it here. So let's go entire screen. And so let me, all right, so I got cursor fired up here. Might just start a new chat just to be safe here. And then I got the local host fired up too, just so we can see it. And then what I did is I actually sketched out, let me just change this over here. I sketched out our new directory structure. So we're going to move away from certificates as the top level. The certificates are actually going to be the currency or the asset. So like the instrument in insurance. So what's going on here? And so what I have is we have policies, general and specific, the insurance binder, which is the actual natural assets, so properties, groups, so insurance groups. The top level are the accounts, or basically the operator accounts or the agents. And so an account can be agent operated or operator operated. So we can get into that, but that's the top level. So we don't need a subdirectory for that. We have syndicates, we have market, so we'll just do that, singular. And then for the detail level, at the core, what general and specific policies are currency and assets. And so what I decided is I think I'm going to stick to crypto kind of tradition or nomenclature or standardization, because we always need, for the most part, it's good just to have the contract address. That's like the unique identifier. What we did here, I guess on the main app, we did insurance.app, and we did like certificates, and we tried to abstract away the on-chain stuff, which I think is good in some cases. And then we were pursuing a multi-chain approach, which I think we still are at some point, but just for the time being, we're just going to move everything to base, or everything's on base already. So we're just going to, unless Arbitrum or Optimism or Zora Chain or whatnot wants to fund more of this work, we're just going to focus on base for now, just because it's simpler, more straightforward, more activity. So I think we're going to get rid of this also. We don't need the chain ID. But basically this right here, certificate was us, basically telling us that like, we know it's a 1155 contract, we know it's on base, and this was the certificate or token ID. And so, what that kind of looks like in practice is like this. These are the contract addresses, these were the chains, and then all the actual details for speed and whatnot we were running off of in our database. We'd sync this on chain as needed or daily. Most of this stuff is immutable, so it doesn't change. But I think for the time being, we don't need that. And if you go to like OpenSea, for example, let's just go here. So we can go OpenSea. OpenSea's new thing is pretty cool. Their UI is way better. It's faster, more organized. So kudos to the OpenSea team on this. But like, this is the same asset we were just looking at. And I just always like this, right? Like they have chain ID, contract address, so you can go paste this into, base scan, and you can just see, you don't have to go looking in the database and, find it, whatnot. It's just all like right here, like, it's inventory. So it's all the same stuff basically. But like chain ID to me just makes sense. Token ID just makes sense because it's the same no matter, if you go back here and you go to Rarible, it's the same thing. Contract address, token ID, So it's just the same, right? Depending on what client you use. And what we had been trying to do is abstract that away, which makes sense in a lot of cases, but not really, because like a lot of times you want the contract address. We could put it down here somewhere and we could copy and paste it or something. But I think what we're going to do is at the details level, just go back and we're going to call it what these things are. ERC20 are currencies, and 1155s or 721s are assets. So at the super detailed level, we're just going to call it what they are. And then pools, we were calling the stocks and flows of natural capital pools. So like stocks and flows, stocks are the ecosystems, flows are the ecosystem services. And what we were doing is we were calling it pools here, which makes sense, right? Because these are insurance pools, and basically, they hold assets for the purpose, right? For boreal forest or for clean water, whatnot. So they were pools of capital and assets and whatnot. But I think what we're going to do is actually just, because the reason being is we have a bunch of liquidity pools on Uniswap and Balancer. And what we're going to do is, I think, move the liquidity pools here using those SDKs. It just makes sense. People can add liquidity or view liquidity right from this. And then what we're going to do, I think, is take this and go natural hyphen capital and then do stocks and flows to break those down. So you can see all of it together at natural capital, and you can see stocks and flows separately. And then pools will be liquidity pools. And then protocol rewards. So that's right now we just have like you click the button and you copy your protocol reward address, and that works for both creating accounts and for minting and sharing links, whatnot. You actually get rewards when you share it with your address. So if I paste this address in here, it actually shows my connected wallet address. So like basically, it would track the referrals and pay me a referral for anything someone did. And so we're using Zora protocol rewards for that. And then we're also, our account contracts have that baked in. So we're going to do /rewards. Insurance proceeds are all like the splits, 0x splits that we're using. And we have a whole system set up. We've been messing with this for literally a couple of years. But if we go app.splits, and this one was kind of fun today, but if we go headwaters, so this is our top one, and we have it on multiple chains, same address. You can copy the address, but you just click here. We got some dollar values put in here, which is cool now. But we're going to call these proceeds. We were calling them flows, but it makes sense to call them insurance proceeds. So like this is our top level split right now. It's had $1,500 come through just in kind of value that we're sending around testing and whatnot, the different tokens, that we're using. So like $86 of ETH and $1,000 of Insure. I thought one of the cool ones was actually the streams, which we'll look at here in a second. But basically, these are natural capital pools right here, and it funds these accounts. So flows and stocks. Flows basically funds all those accounts that we just looked at right here in the pools section. So like if we do flows right here, it just funds these accounts. So clean air, this address right here. Hi, it's all right, no problem. So that's the address. BDDF looks like, and that's clean air. So if we do clean air, if we click on it, BDDF right there. So same address. So it basically shows what it's funded, and we've distributed $5,600 to those flows right now. And then you can back up. So we're calling these insurance proceeds, because these are basically, this is what insurance is designed for, is to fund all these different accounts, all the different groups, all the different places, all the different purposes, you name it. And so like groups, for example, tributaries, or this was originally the Basin Protocol, so we named it after like river and water cycle. That's what it's modeled after. But like these are different groups. So like right now, if you go back to insurance, let's see, slash groups. So these are all the different groups. And if you look at, like, let's just say, um, let's say John's solar group, for example. So same thing, we abstracted away the contract address up here, but if you want to get the contract address, you can go down here and it shows the contract address for it. But I guess that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the actual, the group address. So every group that you see here has a situs address. And so these are kind of like, we know these are the groups that are part of the protocol. We need to distribute these to people, but like into groups still. If we did solar.situs, for example, like right now, John has all these tokens, and all these tokens, everything just tanked basically last couple of days, but like there is some value starting to accrue here. Like if assuming insure gets back up to 10 cents or close to $1, like John is going to actually have some serious value to do something with. And same with all these other tokens here that we're building, all of our currencies. Basically, they'll eventually have value as well. And then you can see the assets. That's a spam asset there. It's not a good example, but like FD is John's solar. So let's see, I don't have them named here in this app because it's just on chain, but BDF, so right there. And so you click on there and it's all on chain, it's all immutable. These balances are the same balance, right, that you're seeing on that other screen. So what we're gonna do is go back here, we're gonna call those proceeds instead of flows, but I highly suggest people check this out because this is kind of like one of the core benefits of what we're building here is the insurance proceeds. Basically, Jeff called it UBI, Universal Basin Income, when we were calling it the Basin Protocol, but it's insurance proceeds basically. So immediately, permissionlessly get sent. We can edit these accounts or these. We have them in our multi-sig. So we can edit and update some of these, but this one's super cool. Like these are actually immutable. These streams right here, this is a 64-year stream, 1-year stream. There's a 512-year stream right here. So these are immutable, and anybody can call these contracts. So like that's how much value we've sent through this right now. So like we've set up a time delay system of like time value of money. We're going to create value over time. This is a long-term project, but we're balancing short-term needs, right, with long-term. And so, for example, like if we went to 512 years, we could start these streams, or anybody could start these streams right here. Like we have, shows the beneficiary, which is cool, which it actually points back up to the headwaters. So it flows. So when someone starts one of these streams, anyone can permissionlessly do it. But you just select it and then you like release 2 streams if you want. I'm not gonna do it right now because we're gonna try and stay focused, but it shows like where it goes. It's gonna go to the headwaters flow or proceeds, and then it's gonna go to pools. And then it also goes to the estuary, which is certificates basically of like dividends, of how that gets paid out. We could go over that in a minute, but like Eddie Wine also is kind of cool. It transfers, it converts, it basically swaps currencies for us automatically. I can show you that in a minute, but like streams, like if you started this stream, it's going to stream 58 million insure out over 512 years. And so if you go back here, we have all these different ones set up, and every time someone starts a stream, this time period gets longer. So if I started it today, it's 512 years. If I started it next year, it goes out another 500. That stream goes 512 years. And these are permissionless. They're immutable, like whatnot. So like, and I could like distribute all this stuff right here if I wanted to. Like, we could do $13 of Kookaroo, Velvet, Exploited, Tokyo. Like we could distribute the balances into these streams, and then someone could start the stream. But the whole protocol stems from the headwaters. This is the top address. So we're going to call this, insurance proceeds, basically, and it flows the value through. Um, and so like Eddyline is kind of cool because it like actually swaps. So like we can swap any token that comes into this one to insure. We can swap any tokens that come into this one to ETH automatically. Any tokens that come into this to USDC automatically. And then this goes back into the protocol as well, into the proceeds. So we're not keeping everything in insure. We're not keeping everything in the certificates or currencies, assets, whatnot, but it can be swapped into other types of value for diversification. What we're trying to do here is mimic the water cycle and the biodiversity cycle. And so we got proceeds, and then we got docs, and then we have insure, our fungible token, which we can go into. And then exchange is actually how you swap from assets to currency. So we can go over that too. But basically, this is what we're doing here. So we're going to go back here, and I have this pulled up on my phone. I'm going to close that here for a minute, and we're going to go back here. And what I'm going to do, this is what we built last night, and I still need to change some stuff. But what we're going to do is rework some of this stuff in here. So like assets chain, I'm gonna put some of this stuff in like an old folder. So this is the branch I'm working on, because originally we were going to work on the Zora SDK. I ended up making way more changes than planned. And so we're just working on this branch for now. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go old, or let's do V2 actually. V2. What I'm going to do here is go chain. So I think I'm going to move this whole thing here. So V2. See, it actually didn't. That's not what we wanted to undo. So I want to actually move the whole thing, or actually, let's see here. It's showing my screen or not. If people want to leave a comment here. So you can leave a comment if you're not seeing it. It looks like it's showing right now, but what I want to do, this is always a little tricky in Cursor, because I want to actually duplicate this. Let's copy the whole, let me see if I can select the whole thing. Chain, copy, V2, paste. In fact, that's not what we wanted either. So unfortunately, I have to move every single folder, which is kind of, what I could do? I can do it in my Finder. That'd be easier. For some reason, it's a little weird on there. So let's go Finder, Cursor, insurance agents. We're in app, and then we're in. That's what we did last night, and then I need to find the. I freaking looking at assets. We're looking at. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna copy that. Copy. I'm not gonna copy the whole thing. I'm just gonna paste it in here. That should actually do the whole thing. Yep. So now I got the whole thing. So I got chain ID. Okay, good. So now we got the whole thing in there, and now, so we effectively made a copy of that here. So now what we want to do is, remember, I want to delete this chain folder. So let's see if it deletes the whole thing. It might. Let's just try it here. Delete. See, freaking, I don't know why the cursor is kind of annoying. So I just deleted the whole thing there. We're gonna undo. So I can just put it back. Let's go. I'm just going to do this and copy this, put back in here, assets. Frick that you. Okay, so what we're going to want to do here is we're just going to want to move this out of this. Jesus Christ, dude. It's always fucking annoying. This actually, what I want to do is just do that. Oh, see, I don't want that either. I don't want that either. I want to go back up to open up assets. That's what I want to do, and then go contract. See, I need to freaking see contract. That's what I want to do. Assets. There we go. So now I have nothing in chain. So now I can delete chain. There we go. This nesting stuff is a little freaking nightmarish, but that's what I want to do. So assets, contract, token ID, page. Right. Let's go back here. Assets, 0x is the contract, and then token ID. That's okay. So I got that. Now let's go back here and just look real quick. And I got this is our old one in V2, and so it updated. And so certificates, we're basically deprecating this whole thing too. So we're going to go. So accounts is staying the same. Hold, operate. Exchange. So the bummer is exchange is going to be totally different now too, because we're reworking the exchange. I guess it's not going to be totally different, but like we had exchange. It's over here on this one. And so these are not going to be swappable because these are becoming ERC20. These are 1155 right now, and these are becoming ERC20. So we're going to rework this in only specific certificates will show here. So ERC 1155 specific natural asset certificates will show here. And they can be swapped for insure, basically. So I think we'll still use this format. So I think we can probably just leave that for now. Yes, we'll just edit that later. So I think exchange is done. Certificates, see what's actually, so we're getting rid of all this too. We're going to get rid of all this under the new thing. So like certificates can become policies. I think we're just going to do that fresh. So let's just move. So I might run into the same thing. Let's see if I can get this. Let's just try this V2. Let's get that to go in here. Yep, that works. So that worked when they're see, it didn't work actually. Maybe it did work. Let's just do it. Let's do it here in that thing again. I think we're gonna do, we're gonna move. And I'm sure there's a way to do this in cursor easier, but like to me, it just like this is easier right now for what we're doing. We're So all I'm trying to do is save this stuff for later, and we could do it on, a Git branch, or yeah, we could restore if we wanted to. Let's see, we looked at Exchange, that's fine. Pools, we're gonna rework that as well, so we're just gonna keep that for now. So that's actually gonna become, let's do this. So we're gonna say new folder. See, I don't think this needs to be at that level either. It can actually be up higher now because it doesn't need to be insurance. So it can actually be like natural. I'm not sure why the frick it's there, but like what we want to do is put it here, put it there. And then we're going to move this into, because this is going to be the new pool page. I'm going to go down here. And so we're going to move this down here. Syndicates is fine, I think. Insurance syndicates. So we're going to rework that also. So like, I'm just going to mark that yellow for now. Okay, I don't think we need to make any changes to accounts, because account, and these are like the modules: hold, operate, presence, tend, all, create. Yeah, so these are all staying the same basically. So we can keep those the same. I actually think we can mark those as green for now. And then admin, we're not going to mess with for the time being. API, we're not going to mess with either. Assets we just did, so address. So what we're going to need to do here, we're just going to change the ID here at some point. The contracts. Docs is fine for now. We're going to leave that alone. Ensure test is what we did yesterday. Groups, I think we're leaving that the same. So this is how we were doing the pools. Look at that cursor, but groups. Okay, so that's really, I guess, all we needed to move out of there for now is just certificates. Let's look at our thing here. Okay, so what I need to do is make policies, binder, groups, syndicates. Let's see. I think what I'm gonna do is name this, like instead of V2, just name it old, like rename. Just that's a little more obvious. Group, and that's how the group's name. Those are the different views of the groups. This is how the pools work. Docs is fine. So what we need say app, new folder, policies. Policies, and we're gonna do new folder, general, new folder, specific. I assume people can see my screen. I'm not sure why it's freaking doing that, but like, feel free to drop comments. We're streaming to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. You can drop comments in, I think, at least on Twitter, and it will show here. So we can actually add that here, restream, right? Like, add it if you want. Design, let's see, captions, insurance.app. All right. So feel free to add comments there. Okay, specific. general. So we're just doing placeholders again. Just kind of go through our list. We got policies, general, specific. And what we're gonna need to do too, let's just do it while we're here, is so we have the assets, and what we're gonna need to do, I'm wondering if I should, I was debating if I should do like, and see, this is kind of fun just to use cursor because I've been thinking through it, but we have assets, and I actually have to use the new thing. File, let me do, let's do it. Currency, details folder / page. Do you think, let's see, most of our stuff, Pearl, do you think assets? See, assets, I use that because like OpenSea used to use assets. Now they're using item, which is weird, but like OpenSea and they're Raritable's using token, but like OpenSea used to do this. Like if you go, they used to call everything assets, and that's like where token bound is. Basically, if you go like this, and if you went token bound, right, it goes assets and OpenSea. Let's click on it. See how it says assets down there in the URL? I wonder if they're redirecting it to item now. That's interesting. But like for years and years and years, it was assets like this. So token bound still uses assets. I like assets under our context, so we're going to keep that. Here's a good example of why all these contract address, like when you're building on chain, like these are all different clients, right? Like Rarible, OpenSea, token bound, insurance. They're all showing the exact same thing, just different ways, which is awesome. That's the beauty of this stuff. Let's see what this said. Let's see, certificates, consistency. See, it's using my old things, rewards, splits. See, it's not asking about modules, which is fine. Let's just look here. And currencies. See, but this is actually going to be for a detail currency page because it's going to show one ERC20. So it will show one ERC20 contract. So I'm leaning toward currency, which kind of sounds plural to me. It sounds plural. So I get sidetracked on this stuff, but this stuff, it matters to me, like how this stuff is named. Why the frick's connection failing? Spaces, currency tab component. I'll have to do with currency, semantic clarity. See, it's misinterpreting what I'm doing here, but like, let's just see what it looks like here. New folder, currency. What it's going to be, it's going to look like this, right? It's going to look like, it's going to say contract, new folder. And this is how we do contract. So that's a dynamic URL. And then we're going to say new folder. And that's not going to have a token ID. So it's actually going to say page.tsx, right? Because ERC20 does not have a token ID. So assets. See, I'm wondering if we don't need to call it assets anymore, because I was naming it assets earlier because OpenSea, see, Rarible never did it. Rarible did it token. OpenSea is now using item. Token mostly use assets. We could make it singular because this is what we're doing. We're basically showing. Or that's what we should do. I think we just do. I like the sound of assets better. I don't know. Let's just try this real quick. Let's just do asset. There's one asset. It's showing the detailed 1155 token is what it's showing. So like, let's just rename that. Yeah. Because this right here, asset policies down here is actually showing the contract level. Like specific is going to show all token IDs. Let me think through this. General policies, general is going to show all ERC20. So it's going to show multiple ERC20. So new file. So this is just like, we're really just working on views, basically, of like how we're viewing stuff or how stuff's going to be displayed under different circumstances. So like page.tsx, because the market, so I wonder if we don't even need this because the market, so I'm just kind of eyeballing here to see what it looks like market. See, market is actually going to show, I wonder if we could just get rid of policies in general and just call it market because it's got policies. I'm gonna have to think through that again. We're looking at it here, but like syndicates, pools, rewards. So we do need to do proceeds. Folder for proceeds. Docs, and then we need to do an insure, I think. Asset, currency, docs. That's insure test. And so this is gonna be a different one. This is gonna be insure, a new folder, a new file. See, automatically import. I was just trying to make a note here, but let's just undo that. Like, we don't do that right now. Okay, yeah, so I just did a placeholder there of what that's going to be. Ensure test is what we did last night. So we do have some I can see because I'm not using TypeScript yet. Like we have some problems, right? Like problems 5, and it just shows us like there's no imports or whatnot, so we can deal with that later. But like close that out. I need to think through this for a minute of like, see, we're gonna have to rebuild is what we're gonna do because this is like, I moved all that, remember? Like, so next, we're not working in that directory. So we'll worry about that later. I'm just gonna, don't save, yeah. We'll get through the error. And This is when I need a piece of paper and a pen to actually write down what I freaking did already. Like source, app, asset. I need binder here. Binder, new folder, binder. Binder is all the natural assets. Page. And I could have, I could have cursor do all this stuff, but I'm just playing with it here to see how it feels and looks. Like I like the docs. Let's go back here. Proceed. Some of this stuff is modules already too, like these are like the components. So I'm gonna have to clean that up as well, like groups, like these. This is like the front end app, right? And Next.js is the actual route and the URL. And I keep our components down here in the modules. That's just, it makes more sense to me with, you duplicate naming, but like, so like we don't have syndicates yet. So I need to do syndicates too, I think, right? Folder syndicates. Okay. See, some of this stuff was here. I guess we did have syndicates. I wonder if, yeah, see, that's what we did. We actually, that's what we can do is I had it in that placeholder because I was trying to separate out insurance with accounts, which I don't think we necessarily need to do. I think we keep accounts that way. This is just like for grouping, but like, I don't think we need this anymore. I think we can move it. Because we do have groups, right? Like those are insurance groups. Accounts are basically agents. That's what we were doing. I'm gonna rename that actually, I think, because this is more representative of what we were doing here. So agents. And so this is the top level, basically accounts right here, accounts. And we can do agents account. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do hold. These are like all the different sub things it can do. Account is like the name. So like elk.basin, this is all accounts. When we were doing the on-chain agents, we were just showing agents on that URL, and we're showing all accounts on this URL. So that's all accounts, regardless if it's an agent or not. Create account. This shows what's in your wallet. So what we're gonna do here, I think we're just gonna call it agents. I think new folder agents, and this will actually show is agent flag. So let's just add a placeholder. Oops. New file. Okay. So I'm gonna come back clean that up later, but that's kind of tells me what we're doing. All we're gonna keep because that's shows all accounts. Create mine. I don't think we need this insurance because basically everything is insurance.app. And we did this more, I think, as a way when we were doing these pools, I think. What did I do? I think I must move that over here. Asset certificates. I don't know if I deleted it or not, but no big deal. Like exchange. Let's do this. I'm probably gonna have to rework like some of this because there's probably a good reason I had this in here, but I don't think we need it here anymore. So I can delete that. Admin, that's our admin stuff. Asset. I guess what I could do actually, which might make sense, is to do like a details. Like let's do Next.js might not like this, but let's go to details because this is what it is. So like details and put asset in there, put currency in there. Okay. So now I know like when we're looking at the detail page, right, of like that's an account detail page, but if we're looking at like a certificate detail page, it's going to change here. So if we went to this, so our URL is going to be different now, which is, yeah, so it's not saying no longer exists because I moved it, which is fine. Because we're going to rebuild all this stuff, but like, oh, I know why, because it's not, I deleted the chain ID, which we can add back later, but I think for what we're doing now, just for this, like, get this shit working and so people can maybe understand what the frick we're doing, we're just going to leave this as a contract currency. So that's ERC20, and it's like the detail page of like the actual like ERC20 contract. So like, and again, I'm just making placeholder notes. Wait, I already have it in there. I already have it. Currency contract. So ERC detail. I didn't know. I already had that in there. So we have to find the yeah, so we're gonna have to rework this stuff, this chain ID stuff here. That's fine too. Just trying to do structure right now. Admin groups, and this is going to change a little bit also. But I think what we're going to do is just change the route. For those, binder. And I don't think there's any changes to the groups right now. We do need to change this, like, because insurance pools they're a group contract. They're a 721 contract. We're just displaying them a different way. And that's actually why we had pools up here. And I had like a redirect to it. And see, now we have it empty. So this is going to be, this is fine because we're getting rid of calling those pools. Oh, I know what we did. We put it in natural capital. Right. So yeah, so the pools page went here, is what happened. And then this needs to redirect over to there. Mark it. I'm just thinking through this real quick. General, same as market page, but not sure yet. Because some of this stuff shows the same stuff technically, but we're trying to like logically have it make sense for people. So if you have uh, a policy, general policy, like so, Zora. So originally we had grouped everything on one 1155, but now what we're doing is these are general policies. So they're ERC 20s, right? And each one has a billion supply, basically. So they are currencies. And we're going to show all those together. Shows ERC 20 contracts. All right, so that's just a note for me. Specific, and this is going to shows 5 certificates. Natural assets. See, I'm almost wondering if we don't need a market page. I like the sounds of it. I know what would happen. The policies. We almost could do like a market, like. All right, getting time for dinner here anyway, so I'm gonna have to go. But like, so we're just basically, reworking this stuff. I'm gonna have to think through the market. I like this natural capital page. That's all of them. And we're gonna do a new folder. We do stocks. This is our whole frame. This is how our framework works. Natural capital. New folder. Flows. And what we're gonna do is just basically separate these views of so that will be on its own URL right now, and it might not work anymore because I moved it. So it probably is not going to work. Yeah, so I moved it to natural capital. Let's see what happens if I just go natural capital. Not sure why my font wasn't flowing through either. Something happened with cursor where it's not recognizing. It's pulling like weird fonts. Like it should be pulling space grotesque and space mono. See, that actually worked. So that's our pools. Is now just insurance.app capital. And then so what we'll do is like, so here you could just, so when you click on this view right here, it'll be this instead. So it's natural capital stocks. It's going to throw a 404, which is fine. But like, all right, looking good. So I got policy. Let's just run through it real quick. Policies, general and specific. And then if you want to see the details of those, it would actually be here. So I'm wondering, I want that to be at a top level. I don't want this nested. Like, I probably could still think through this too, but like, asset. Yeah, see, I like that better. I could do policy, but then policy asset. I don't know. I thought about doing policy. General. I wonder if we could do that. General, maybe that would be better. Yeah, let's just do that. It's a little longer than I want, like policies, general contract ID. So general is not going to have a token ID, which is fine, right? Hmm. Let's try that. I mean, I like the currency and the assets thing. But really, what they are is that's what we're calling them, is policies. And so I think we can internally call them currencies or natural capital coins, natural capital currency, natural capital uh, assets, whatnot. But we don't need to do, like, if OpenSea changed it from assets and only token bound is using assets, we don't need to call them assets anymore. Our 721s, like, we're going to still need, what I was thinking is we needed like a general placeholder for like this kind of stuff. Like if we go back here, if we do, let's see, oh, basin. And so if we went to like non-certificates of insurance, and we just looked at, I guess Polygon's a better example. So that's all spammy, but this is like our like older, our test certificates. So you see how we had that here? I guess we're still going to need that assets thing. So I actually need to move it back up here because that's how we were displaying non-certificate. Okay, that's what we can do. That works better. So we'll move this. This is specific. What we're gonna have to do here, we're gonna have to, I'll do that in a second. So we're gonna do that, we'll delete that because we don't need it. Now what we're gonna do here is move this down to general, right? General. So currency, general. Insurance.app/policy/general. And the details are contract ID or contract, right? There's no token ID, which is fine. It's good. And then specific is, we'll show all the specific ones here, right? So that's our little note we made. And then it shows token ID. So that's the details page. And now what we need to do here is, because I broke this, I need to move this back up to like, where was it? I think it was just in the app. It might have been in the insurance folder, but like, I think for what we're doing is like, it actually still could go into details because that's really that's what we're using it for. And so now we're back to that display. And so we could delete that. Let's just see what happens if I go back here. If I go back to that Polygon thing. Loading out. Yep. So it worked. Yep. So that's fine. So this is why we still need a display mechanism for non certificates of insurance. And so it shows any, like we can look at this, let's look at this spam. This is one I just bought, an elk one I bought. Uh, yeah, so that's a non certificate of insurance, and you actually can go see it on OpenSea and Rarible. And so OpenSea uses token chain ID, which is fine. And then this one changes to item. See, what's interesting is we're still linking. They just redid their URLs because like assets down here. You can see it real quick. Like see it down there at the bottom, assets. So that's fine. I might need to change that later, but okay, we got that back working. All right, so policies, general. And this just kind of tells me like, it's just a placeholder, right? So it kind of keeps things organized, API. Binder, we'll deal with that. That's going to be a grid. That's a natural asset grid. So what we're going to do is take binder, right? Like this is in a different database right now, but we're going to move this, to slash binder. We'll get rid of that, and then that's what it will look like, binder. And it'll be similar, but just be natural asset, and then it will say. So this will be copy. That's what the URL will look at. Well, say, and we won't need this. I thought about doing natural assets or natural assets binder, but I think we know for our purposes, we know the binder houses natural assets or properties, basically. So binder, and then we'll have property name, or natural asset name. So actually we need to do that because the binder is going to have new folder. So what if I should do natural? Let's just do that. Yeah, natural. Yeah, and then we get some good SEO juice for that natural asset. And then we'll do name. Okay, I think that's the best of both worlds for now. So we do folder, and we'll do name. All right, cool. So that's the details page. So that's kind of like what we just did down here. Okay, I got to go for dinner here. Okay, let's see, natural asset, name. Yeah, binder. And groups, I think, is already done. Because we didn't touch that. So like group, dynamic group name, view all, and you can see all groups here. So it's groups. That works fine. So that didn't change. Accounts, I don't think we changed. So operator and agent. So any account will be, so we'll just call them agents. I wonder if we should just call it accounts maybe. We're calling this link basically agents, right from the footer. Agents. It goes to all. So I kind of like having this just placeholders like insurance agents. We just know that's like what it is. And then it has accounts. You can hold, operate, attend. That's the name. So like beaver.basin. This would show all agents. Is agent. So like is agent flag. This shows all accounts. So I wonder if I should just name this accounts, because then let's just do that. That's how we designed it. Rename. I like agents better. This is just a placeholder, but like it really, that's what it is. These are accounts. These are, and then account these are agent. These are accounts that have become agents. Is what these are. So when you go to app/agents, it'll show you is agent flags. All will show you all accounts regardless of status. Create mine. Yep. Okay, good. So we got that done. We got syndicates down here real quick. And this probably should still work actually. Let's just try it out. Oh, what did I freaking do? I broke something, or maybe I fixed it again, but let's go. Syndicates. Yeah. And this is just kind of a dummy. We're going to use that insurance grid we did yesterday for this. We're going to change these out with those new cards in the insurance or insure module. So syndicates is done. So what did I even archive? I just archived the certificates. That's fine. That's what I crossed out here. Okay, market. I'm gonna have to come back to, I think, market, because the market is really, let's do new page, new file, page, TSX, and say, and okay, so we have to just kind of make a decision on that one. TBD. So, and I could add that as comments. Maybe I should just do that. Be better. It's just clear. It's not throwing a TypeScript error. So I could do the same thing like here. Yeah. See, that's why it's called cursor. That's freaking sweet right there. See how fast that was? Save. I'm just typing some of the stuff so we can see that. Look at that. Bam. So I got rid of all those problems just with cursor doing that. And I could see it actually knew I wanted to do TBD. So I can do TBD. So tab. Save. All right. So I got rid of that red stuff, which is awesome. Okay, market, we're going to come back to. I'm going to think about that tonight. And then these I moved. I really like that, like natural capital currency, natural capital assets. But in insurance, we're calling them policies. And so, like, we just know, right? I don't know. If you know, you know. Like, if it's a general certificate, it's a currency. I just think it makes more sense structurally from trying to explain this to non-crypto people of like, what are you selling? Certificates, right? Like, or policies. It was certificates, and now it's policies. And the certificates make up the policies. And these are the policies, contract ID. Right? And they won't see token ID, they'll see number. I don't know. I still kind of like currency and assets. Like, that's my personal opinion. But from a details level, then what happens is this is like separate, right? Of like these detail pages are then up here. And we'd have currency. We run into that plural issue. And we'd have asset. So same thing, we run into a plural issue. And then let's see, currency. What's funny is we barely even used cursor today. That's cool. Contract general. That's the details page. Specific detail page. See pools, and then we need to do new file. TSX. Do swap and balancer. So we actually could move some of this split stuff, like basically right here, components, flows. Like I could those are our components for it, but like I could go ahead and move it here, but I'm just gonna do this for now because it needs those are gonna be nested in a page. I have a test page somewhere. Um, so we already have some of that stuff built, which is like, so if you go back here and you go like, oh yeah, so I put everything back in that other folder. So what if I went V2? I wonder if that would have, let's see if it should work. V2 archive, what it was called? I don't know if it'll work or not. V2 archive. It might kind of freak out V2. Well, it looks like it's getting it and it's still redirecting it. Yeah. So here we have our, this is our splits, right? It's going to show, and the site is, I think I'm working on this is V1. It's hilarious to kind of look at this stuff now. This is from October. I don't even know if that's what we called it over there. Oh my God, dude, it's kind of funny. Because you got the basin, like. Okay, I need to go here. So yeah, so let's see if it works over here. Loading splits data. Yeah, so cool. So this is what's going to end up showing over here. It's going to show the different splits. We're going to improve the display, but like this show, we have 54 beneficiaries, and it's going to show the flow. Like that's a little messed up, but that's 6 beneficiaries. So like proceeds, right? Like let's make a note of that. Like so old flow now insurance proceeds. Okay, so that's an example. So these components are just going to move over here. And let's just do that. There we go. So now we know. Like and see that's just that same address. That's the headwaters address right there. So if we copy that in, that's what's awesome about this. Or it's already here. So it's just that same address. So that's all it's showing. It's just going to show it in a different way or a more specific way. So we're looking good. Syndicates. I think we already looked at that. V2. All right. All right, that's it for tonight. For now, maybe I'll do some more later tonight. Changes. Let's just commit. Remove deprecated certificate. Rename. Delete. Go with that. So let's see what's not saved here. So let's save. Yeah, so we'll save that. So cursor, when you're automatically programming over here, it automatically saves, but when you manually make changes, it leaves a little dot. See, that means it's unchecked. That's why it gave me that warning. So I go save, close, save, insurance exchange. I'm probably saving stuff I don't want to save actually, but that's fine. Binder. This is all natural assets. All natural. In the binder, not the. All right. So save. All right, commit, motherfucker. That's what I like to say. Excuse me. All right, sounds good. Thank you very much for. All right, thanks for tuning in. It's longer than I planned on, but we got the structure worked out now, and now we got to go back to building the components and streamlining the components, and I got to get those general certificates or the currency contracts. I think, see, currency is just a much easier way to explain it. So I may have to rethink that, but like currency and assets, I just like that. So I'm going to get the currency contracts in and we'll start to display those. I got to finish the grid. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Drop questions, tweet me, DM me on LinkedIn, whatnot, and we'll go from there to ensure some more natural capital.